Welcome back. You're watching Racing 360. It's time now to have a look at the lead up to the Group 2 UAE Derby tomorrow night in Dubai, and that's the Al Busta Kia. This for the 3-year-olds, of course, run over 1,900 metres on the all-weather track.
Thought probably the bet of the night here, Joe, by the name of Snowboarder, to be ridden by Mikel Barcelona, Mahmoud Al Zarouni. It's a little bit tricky because most of these are stepping up significantly in distance, 300 metres and a little bit more for some of them. And some of them barely look like they ran out 1,600 metres on the all-weather track. So what did you make of it, Jerry?
I put him on top as well, Snowboarder. At least he'll stay the trip. We don't know much about these horses. A lot of them have only just turned 3 now, really. It's difficult. This Snowboarder, actually, in England, he beat a horse called Wayfoon Express by a nose, who trained by Richard Gibson, who's just trialled the other day. Wasn't great. That was a decent race, though, a conditions race at Kempton. And in this race, that's him with the green colours, red cap, who stays on pretty well. This was over a mile, so you reckon he's going to be able to stay the extra 300 metres and perform well in this, the Al Busta Kia, so put him on top. Yeah,
the horse that won that race, a horse called Soft Falling Rain, and they've decided that it's not going to get more than 1,600 metres, so de Kock's going to save Soft Falling Rain for shorter distances. Might see the horse at Royal Ascot, but you saw Zahi there. Thought that Zahi didn't finish off the race as well as Snowboarder, a horse that was bred in New Zealand, interestingly enough, raced in Australia and is also now competing in Dubai. Interesting the way this horse has sort of travelled in its races. Zahi has sort of tended to over-race a little bit. I wonder whether they might not let it roll a bit more freely and sit a bit closer to the speed. Yeah,
he was wide no cover last time, wasn't he? His form in Australia, he won at Kilmore and Mornington for Mick Price. And I know this isn't really the strongest as a Derby trial as well, but is that form good enough?
I suppose the only thing is that we've seen the horse in the Emirate now, and it's sort of competed well enough against the lot of opposition that it's been.
But you're right, Jerry, it's a long way from Kilmore to Dubai.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
A long, long way.
And there's a weight concession there as well. He's given away 4.5 kilos to the other ones as a Southern Hemisphere 3-year-old.
That's very significant, having to carry that big weight.
So Snowboarder looks one of the good things of the night?
Jason thinks so, yeah.
Jerry's not quite so confident, but you've still got it on top.
Yeah, I do. Zahi was the obvious one as well to follow that up. And Secret Number is a horse who's quite well bred. First run at the Carnival, he won on debut, Soul Start at Kempton. I think that form might work out. He could be the Smoky.
The final audition for the Group 1 Alquoz Sprint on Dubai World Cup night is tomorrow evening's Meydan Sprint.
Yeah, this is a race that will feature another South African by the name of Shay Shay, who competed, so has had one race in Dubai, had to carry a very large weight and was conceding weight to a number of competitors. Wanted to drift out. We don't have footage of the race, unfortunately, but wanted to drift out in the straight under pressure. But many expecting the horse to come on significantly. They have a big rap on this horse in South Africa, Shay Shay, but up against some UK horses, Jerry, that have sort of been there and done that and competed at Group 1 level in the likes of races up against Hortensia, like July Cut and stuff like that.
Yeah, conspicuously those Soul Power stands at second in this race last year, just touched off by Hortensia in the Alquoz, third to Little Bridge, over 1,000 metres at Royal Ascot. That's solid form. Invincible Ash, she's in the race again. She's that bit older now. She's an 8-year-old. She won this last year. I think the horse I like that stands out for me, however, and he might be a price in Hong Kong, hopefully, is number 4, Spirit Quartz. Second to Hortensia at York last August. Kept fresh for this as well. 1,000 metres, fast ground, that's ideal for him. Beaten a long way last time in the Abbey on Arc Day, but that was the ground that cost him there. So, like I say, fast ground, sharp track. I'd like him, and could be a price. And I think this is quite a good betting race overall. Soul Power, put him in there. Shay Shay, as you mentioned, a dual Group 1 winner in South Africa. I'd be doing QQPs on this.
Shay Shay started really short when he made his debut at Meydan last start. So again, watching the market to see how people react to that performance and how much they believe he can come on and compete against the level of racehorse that Jerry's touched on there. But I think he can, given what he's done in South Africa.
He'll improve for the run. I think it's been pointed out how few of Mike de Kock's horses that have been first up have performed well. And as we've touched on earlier with the quarantine hindrances that they have to overcome, it's very difficult to win first up, and it wasn't a bad race, but he'll come on for that. And those South African sprinters, like we saw a couple of years ago, JJ the Jet Plane, when you get a good one, they're very good.
So selections for the Maidan Sprint tomorrow night. From Jerry Green, Spirit Quartz at value to beat Soul Power and Shay Shay. Jason, a big fan of Shay Shay. That's his top selection to beat Soul Power, and Spirit Quartz he's put in as his third selection.
Can we just touch on, Joe, as well, that we'll have Joy and Fun and Eagle Regiment taking on these horses as well when it comes to the big night. Of those, you would have to have a preference for Eagle Regiment. I don't think Manfred Mann, he'd be watching this race and thinking, well, they're not bad, but I wouldn't be that scared of them. Hortensia won't be running in the big race in 2 weeks' time, 3 weeks' time.
Krypton Factor is a very good sprinter and lines up tomorrow night in the Mahab Al Shimal as last year's winner of the Group 1 Golden Shaheen.
Well, everything came together for Krypton Factor around this time last year, and he was a very dominant winner of the race, sitting wide and on speed, and he franked that by going on to win the Golden Shaheen equally as dominantly, beating home Lucky 9, who finished in third. The lead-up performance from Krypton Factor was good enough. It was a typical run from a sprinter that hadn't had much racing underneath him, sat wide. Nice sectionals. We labelled the horse here. Another horse to watch, Belmont Mast, who is on the inside and didn't finish too badly either, but doesn't have a great draw, I suppose, for the race on Saturday.
Yeah, Mental won this well, and he'll be tough to beat when it comes to the big race, the Golden Shaheen, in 3 weeks' time. The Krypton Factor, very, very consistent at this course and distance. 5 runs, 3 wins, placed the other 2. And in that race we just saw a little while ago, he was checked at the start by Mental, so got a little bit too far back. Fallon will have him, you'd hope, a little bit closer this time around from barrier 2. There's a distinct lack of quality in the race as well. I think he'll blow them away. If you got even money, I'd bite your hand off.
We'll see Mental in 3 weeks, and that'll be a big watch race. Frederick Engels is all set to go for the Golden Shaheen, and so I suppose connections, when they take Frederick Engels over, will be watching very closely as to how he sort of gallops on the surface. But John Moore's pretty confident. But that'll be a match-up to look forward to, Frederick Engels, Mental, Krypton Factor.
Yeah, I would think so. I think Frederick Engels will go well. But Mental is still, I think, the one to beat.
Yes, hasn't he hit his strap since he got to the Middle East? Good to see, formerly trained in Australia with Peter Snowden and the Dali team there. They didn't have so much luck with the number of stars the year previous.
Sepoys and very much in helmet with very much tail between their legs. They were very ordinary, both of them. Okay,
lots to look forward to tomorrow night in Dubai, and Krypton Factor, one of the highlight runners in the Mahab Al Shimal field. So that's our look at the simulcast races for Hong Kong tomorrow night. 6 group races, 1 listed, and of course the 2 Group 1s to look forward to. So it's the peak period in the Middle East at the moment for racing, and it's a very important time here in Hong Kong as well, as we count down to next weekend's Group 1 Hong Kong Derby.
It's a derby that's starting to take shape now. A lot's been said about the horses competing and the quality, but a man that's going to have the biggest role to play as a trainer is Richard Gibson, with the favourite, or the horse that will be favourite, Akid Mofid, Gold Fun and Mizani. He'll be joining you, Joe, and also Darren Flindell on a special Racing 360 live 8:30 next Friday.
Yeah, it's something new, isn't it? A very interactive racing program. Viewers can tweet in their questions to Richard, who saddles up 3 runners in the race, Jerry.
Yep, he holds the whip hand for sure. I'd just be interested to see what sort of price the horse will be, Akid Mofid. You know, he won well enough, but he wasn't as considered a good thing as, say, horses in the past like Viva Patak or Vengeance Serene, or 2 years ago Ambitious Dragon, and I thought, right, this is a certainty, it's gone by. I think it's slightly more open than that, and hopefully on the day he might be something like 2-1 for punters.
There's a sense of timing about his preparation now, though, isn't there, with the way that he was successful in his previous start. Even though things didn't go well in the Classic Cup, he put them away, okay, in a Class 2 race, but he did everything that you would have wanted to have seen him do if you're sort of connected to the horse.
I'd agree. It's, and in Ireland, John Ox always reckoned the horse as a 4-year-old would turn into a Group 1 animal if he'd have been able to hold on to him, which obviously is not the case. You'd say this race is a lot easier to what he'd be facing in Europe, so yeah, he's entitled to be favourite.
And his stablemate, Gold Fun, not to be underestimated, racing for the same connections as Akid Mofid. He is proven at Group 1 here in Hong Kong.
Yeah, again, it wasn't the strongest Group 1 either, and he had to do plenty of work and probably hit the front a bit early as well. So he showed quite a lot of tenacity to stick on and hold off Garlic Boy on that occasion. However, I have a slight doubt about him getting the 2,000 metres strongly, just the way he's bred. a lot of this derby as well is going to depend on barrier draws, as all these races do, and how fast they go. But Gold Fun, I'd be less confident about personally.
That'll be a pretty good question for viewers to be able to ask Richard Gibson with regards to Gold Fun and his take on whether he's going to get a 2,000-metre journey competitively if it's run genuinely. But that'll be next week, 8:30, and if you go to that web address that we showed earlier, you can interact through a special iPad application, Derby Chat, and type in your thoughts, and you'll probably see your comments on screen, and Richard will respond to as many as he possibly can with you and Darren Flynn Delta.
Not to be missed, our special preview of the Hong Kong Derby next week on Racing360. Nor to be missed, tomorrow night's live racing from Dubai Meydan Racecourse. Jerry, you'll be along with me for the simulcast.
Look forward to it.
Should be a top night. All right. And that concludes Racing360. Hope you enjoyed the show. Look forward to your company tomorrow night for our live broadcast from Dubai.